dynamic part of it.
Yep.
I love the Air Force. But from that, I became a director of cybersecurity policy at the White House under the Obama administration. And so I spent time there working on different issues, incident. My portfolio was pretty broad. I had intelligence, justice, defense, and incidents. So I pretty much lived there. It was
Wow.
amazing. And, and really, people don't appreciate this, the staff, regardless of the administration, how much time people are there. I mean, I would get
Yes.
in, I would start my day at like 6:30 and I'd be leaving at 10:30 every day. And there were
Yeah.
people that were there before me and still not leaving after me. And it was crazy.
Yeah, people,
Good
I
experience though.
agree with you, Trent. Like, people don't realize how hardworking the staff is. And why is that? I thought about this because I met a few of the National Security Council lawyers throughout my career, and kind of reverse interviewed them because I was thinking, all right, when I was in the Air Force, is this something I might want to do? The hours, as you said, were crazy. And really, somebody said this to me and it made a lot of sense. It's like, we work the hours we do because we're on literally a 4-year sprint. Like, this is
Yeah,
not a marathon. We don't have all the time in the
that's
world to
right.
get done what needs to get done. So like, everybody's operating at this like crazy speed, these ridiculous hours, and they really don't leave anything, on the mat when they're done. I mean, it's just like they give it their all. And I saw that take a toll on some people, and I'm like, is that something, where I was in my life? And we're going to talk about balance here shortly. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I, as exciting and awesome as that was, I was like, I kind of held back because it was just like, I'd have nothing, absolutely nothing left for my family.
Yeah,
And that, was important to me. And I still, looking back, I always gave it my all, and I probably wasn't there as much as I should have been. But I didn't take that one. I didn't go for that one, purposefully. But let's talk about, some of your best experiences during this time in your career, your earlier career. You've hit a couple highlights, but what were some of the best moments?
the best moments were the stories. So it really comes down to the stories at the end of it, because you find yourself doing things that you never expected to be doing, and in really strange environments. So I have a concept. The people that are really successful in the military or law enforcement have flexible minds. In the sense is like, you're walking into it, and then because you're prepared, and something goes sideways, is like, okay, we're dealing with a bomb threat today, or we have a kidnapping, or somebody's hacked into trying to attack a power station. What are we going to do? Something like it's, I mean, it's, like a great, I traveled more than I thought, worked overseas with a lot of other foreign law enforcement agencies, saw a lot more of the world than I ever thought I would.
Yeah.
Um, and you do a lot of firsts. It's like I gotta, be part of the team that got the top 10 fugitive in. You really make cases that make a difference. Saying you're at the White House, so I'm there. Like, for example, going back to the White House example, you said it's not a marathon, it's a sprint. They call it. I remember the first orientation said Saturday and Sunday are just 2 days before Monday at this place, and it's you just keep going.
I'm
And
laughing because at CENTCOM, we worked for General Mattis at the time. We would all, whether it was a Friday or like the day before a holiday, we'd be
yep,
like, hey, have a good weekend or have a good whatever. See you tomorrow. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
see you
It,
tomorrow.
it was
Yeah,
like, yeah, I mean, because inevitably, especially if you were on call, and we were frequently, it was like, you get that call, you're out with ice cream with the kids, 7 o'clock on a Friday. It's like, okay, I got to drive the 45 minutes to go back in, and I'm pretty sure I'm not coming home tonight, right? I'm like, sleep, I'm
yeah.
staying there. Yeah, because it's going to be an all-nighter. So, no, I totally get it. And, with the good comes the bad. Are there any like experiences that were, I think we learned from horrible experiences too. Just give me one, maybe not optimal experience and what you learned from it in your career.
You learn. I think it really comes down to speed of trust, and you find out when you're working as a team, and see, you really have those guys that are going to go into harm's way and they can trust. But then when you're working in different projects or different parts of the government or policy, the thing where you find out that you're doing something with trust and then somebody isn't trustworthy and
Yeah.
it ends up upset. You know how you're trying to pull for a common good and somebody's actually, I think that's the worst thing is like you have somebody that's pulling for themselves versus the team. And, or it sets you back on what you're trying to get done because, those are the worst experiences. I mean, I'm trying to think and we kind of chatted about this before. I was trying to think of a good bad story. And, even the bad days, you try and work through them. But I think it's more of that speed of trust. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, here's the example where.
I told our producer in the background to put this one up because like it looks like you're having a bad day here, my friend. You're just the ties askew and you're just like, don't mess with me today. So
Well, that's when I was an inspector, and so in the FBI, the inspector is a rank, it's SES, but essentially you're a troubleshooter for the director. And so something's gone wrong, and he's sending the inspectors out to figure out what happened or try and stop something bad from happening before it does. So
yep.
you're in usually showing up and it's a mess, and then you're trying to work your way through it. That was work balance. That was a tough one because we were gone all the time, and that was hard on family life.
Yeah, we're going to get the balance in 1 second. But before we do, I want to talk about your current career because you started this company called CSG Strategies. And tell us just a little bit about that.
So CSG Strategies is a cybersecurity and counter threat advisory company. So what I do is I still work with the government. I still, on different projects, advise back, but it's helping companies work through or prepare for an event. So, I've done the CISO, I've been a chief information security officer, I've done, intelligence and all that, but it's actually helping boards and C-suites actually navigate all the regulations and the risk and how to plan, prepare, so that when an event happens, you know what to do. It's another day. It's a bad day, but it's another day. And really, so I focus on startups. You have a great idea, but how do you lock it down? And here's the risk from, hackers, whether it's criminal, terrorists, or state-sponsored. And so I spend a lot of time advising companies strategically through that, and that's kind of gets me in the different areas.
That's so cool. So for either young people looking to make a career for themselves or even tips for older folks that have been around the block and maybe like you and me, let's call ourselves old. I'll call myself old. I'm not going to insult you. You retired from the federal service, you became an entrepreneur. I did the same thing.
Right.
Any words of wisdom or advice in making those moves?
Yeah, I think, it goes, be prepared, train as you fly. Because, it's interesting, I have friends who I guess became institutionalized. They spent, 20, 30 years as a cop or an investigator.
Like Shawshank Redemption, like
Pretty much, yeah, it's the same thing.
You are
with
released
military,
and you're
law
like, wait a
enforcement.
minute. Yeah.
You don't know your entire identity's the military, your entire identity's law enforcement. Now you're retired. Can you move on? I found out really early that I'm a capitalist, and it's like, hey, if this isn't, people aren't going to buy it, let's not do that. And it's being able to move on because constantly like going on for my doctorate, which is really out of a dare, it keeps you moving and keeps you thinking. So technically I'm a pensioner now, but I don't feel like a pensioner. And you keep exploring. It's like, drones. Drones is so exciting, and what you're doing. And when we met, is like, wow, that's really cool. How do you lock it down? So I'm taking my subject matter expertise and then tying it to, the industries that actually use drones or want to use drones.
Right.
You got to keep moving, I guess, is the whole story.
Like Dory, right? Keep on moving, keep on swimming, keep on swimming is what she used to say. And that's, that brings up childhood memories and whatnot. Let's talk about balance because, man, your career from National Security Council, White House, FBI field agent, all the investigator or inspector, as you said. My brain
Yeah.
goes to inspector detector from
Yeah, pretty
uh,
much that's what that is.
yeah,
Inspector Gadget,
um,
Inspector
yeah,
Callahan,
yeah. Um, so
Clouseau.
how were you able to maintain some kind of balance in your life?
It was tough, and I probably could have done it better. I mean, I have two great boys, and when it's like in the military, when you get, there are
They're so
um,
cute.
when you get stationed to different parts around the country, you had to live, you try to live like we're going to be there forever. And so you make holidays a big thing. This is when I was the second time working for President Obama, and I was able to bring him in and meet him. And my oldest, standing right there, asked me before we went in if he could ask him questions about healthcare. And I said,
They're,
absolutely not. It's like, we're
ah,
not going to, it's like,
I
but
love
the
when you wanted to
president
do that.
actually, the president's commenting on it. So we all wearing the same tie and suit, and he's commenting, that's a very nice jacket. My son said, Brooks Brothers, and he goes, it's very nice.
Oh,
They were great. Same thing with Vice President Biden and Dr. Biden. They were great. So I was able to take them because you work so many hours at the White House. They come and rollerblade out in front, to have fun. I took them trick or treating, took them bowling. Um, you know, that's how they, the administrations take care of the staff because you're there all the time. So they got experiences that, not everybody got. Both their birthday parties. You bought a cake, reserve the bowling alley. So you try and do unique things, but you really got to focus on it. And that scouting was a big way with my boys, who are both Eagle Scouts now, to
wow.
spend time with them, dedicated.